obstacle
To the limbo one. Sure, that one.
Okay. I'll go off this way.
Welcome to the GCI conference. Thank you. Please stand by. If you are the chairperson, please enter your chairperson passcode. You will now be placed into conference. There are 2 participants in the conference.
Hello, you're at the Seward City Council meeting of August 10th. Can we hear who's on the phone, please?
Maybe not.
Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, thanks, Julie. Is there one other person on? Just checking, or the 2 includes you, is that right?
I'm not sure how that works.
Okay, well, we're going to go right into the Pledge of Allegiance. Lieutenant, if you could lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, could you call the roll?
Tonight's roll call: Butts,
Yes.
Kreitz,
Here.
Cease,
Here.
Osenga,
Here.
McClure,
Here.
Baclan, Mayor Terry.
Yes.
You have a quorum.
And I might just add, I know that Councilmember Baclan was going to call in as soon as he's able, so we'll just listen for him to call in and then we'll note the time when that happens. Thank you. Madam Clerk, next on the agenda is the citizen comments on any subject except those items scheduled for public hearing. And since we have no public hearings, we'll just do citizen comments.
Okay, we just have a few of them tonight. The first one is Lori Landstrom.
I just heard someone sign in. Is that Councilmember Baclan?
Yes, this is me.
Okay, thank you. And we have you down as being at the meeting. We've just gone through the roll call and we're just starting citizen comments.
My name is Lori Landstrom. I live outside city limits and work inside city limits. I fully support the amended resolution 2020-057, Hoops for Seward. I think a refurbished basketball court, possibly multi-use court, is a great idea for our town. The fact that this is a project driven by our young people is fabulous. I encourage the city to support this project in concept and with the amended $30,000. I look forward to seeing the remodeled courts that Hoops for Seward seeks to bring to fruition. Thank you, Lori Landstrom.
Thank you.
And Madam Mayor, I received something that was requested to be read for citizen comments, but actually relates more to the CARES Act Review Committee, so
That's fine.
should we wait or should I read it?
Well, it's not a public hearing, so so it's fine to read under citizen comments.
Okay.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
From Kim Ryerson, attached is a letter from Seward Community Foundation asking for consideration of my being appointed to the city's nonprofit grant team to represent the community. Please feel free to read aloud to council. If you recommend that it would be better to call in, I can do that instead. Dear City Council, it is our understanding that the City Council will be selecting members for the Nonprofit CARES Act Funding Committee on Monday, August 10th. The Seward Community Foundation has nominated myself, Kim Ryerson, for consideration to serve on that committee. We feel that it would be highly beneficial to have representation from the nonprofit sector to be a participant in the city's grant program. Seward Community Foundation would bring years of knowledge and strong working relationships with our local nonprofits to the table. Since the COVID-19 pandemic began, we have been providing basic needs funding to the local nonprofits working on the front line to help meet the needs of our community. Being a member of your grant committee would allow us the opportunity to help continue this work with the city and provide up-to-date information on how the nonprofits have been affected during this unprecedented time. Thank you for all the work you do and you and the city are doing on behalf of our community. I'm grateful that the City of Seward has included nonprofits nonprofits in its COVID-19 relief plans. I would welcome the opportunity to serve on your grant committee. Next is Tara Reamer, and we'll call her.
Thank you.
Hello, this is Tara.
Tara, hi, you're with City Council, and you have 3 minutes for citizen comments.
Thank you, Brenda, and thank you, members of City Council. I'm speaking tonight as President and CEO of the Alaska Sea Life Center, and I wanted to provide you an update on our fundraising campaign. Many people have been asking for details on how we're doing. You might have seen that on Facebook, and we have been wanting you to be the first to know what milestones have reached in our fundraising. So we've been putting everyone else out until I was able to speak to you tonight. So our campaign kicked off on July 13th. That's exactly 4 weeks ago. Also on July 13th, you passed Resolution 2020-054, authorizing the appropriation of $500,000 for the Alaska Sea Life Center for emergency COVID-19 relief purposes with stipulations. Now, those stipulations, if you recall, were that we must raise $1.3 million from other sources in order to receive that $500,000. And there were some specifics that admission fees and that could not be used. I wanted to let you know today that we have met the goal of $1.3 million with unrestricted donations over the past 4 weeks.
That's great.
That is wonderful.
We are so grateful to everyone in the community, businesses, individuals across Alaska, in Seward, all over the country, that we were able to raise that amount within just 4 weeks. So our stated goal, which is now $2 million, even with the city's pledged funding, we've not met that yet, so we will continue fundraising. And I wanted to point out a special match program that the Seward Community Foundation is sponsoring that started at the end of last week. This was also highlighted in the Seward Journal. The next 100 memberships purchased by Seward and Moose Pass residents will have an additional $25 contribution added to them by the Seward Community Foundation. And in addition, those 100 memberships will be eligible for a prize drawing. And there's some pretty fantastic items on that prize drawing, including 15 pounds of halibut and a iceberg kayaking trip for 2, and a few others. So just wanted to make sure that that was out there. But I wanted to thank you all for your support, and also take this opportunity to thank anyone else in the Seward community who's watching and listening for the amazing outpouring of support that we've gotten. So we haven't met our goal yet, but we are well on our way. Thank you so much.
Great. Thank you, Tara.
Thank you. Good night. Okay. Next is a comment from Cindy Eklund. Honorable Mayor and Council, please support Hoops for Seward financially and with City of Seward equipment and workforce as much as possible. These children raised a remarkable amount of money in order to improve their skills and share their passion for basketball with all of Seward. And the last comment is from Christiana Smith. Hello. I would like to request my comments to be read. My name is Christiana Smith, and I reside outside Seward city limits. As a citizen of Seward area, I would like to make comments in regards to Resolution 2020-057, Statement of Support for Hoops for Seward. As a parent in Seward, I recognize the importance of having a variety of safe, fun, and healthy activities for children in the community. Because of this, I support the resolution as written. However, I have some reservations about the proposed amendment to the resolution prepared by Councilmember Baclan for a $30,000 financial commitment. While I support the City of Seward providing financial assistance for the Hoops of Seward initiative, I do not see any documentation as to the monetary needs of this project. In the memo prepared by Councilmember Baclan for the July 13th council meeting, there is mention that the Hoops for Seward group has received support to collect funds for an engineer to plan the project. In the same memo, there is a recommendation to direct the city manager to send out a request for proposals for resurfacing and/or demolition and rebuilding of the Forest Acres basketball court. The discussion on this topic has since been postponed with no additional supporting documents included in the agenda packet for today's meeting. Before the amendment to this resolution or a future resolution is approved for financial commitment and support, I urge council to wait until there is a clear Hoops for Seward project cost breakdown available. Thank you for your time to listen and consider my comments. And that concludes citizen comments.
Great, thank you so much. Next on the agenda is the approval of the agenda and consent agenda. If I could get a motion and a second, please.
I move for the approval of the agenda and the consent agenda.
I'll second it.
Thank you. So looking for any changes, Vice Mayor McClure?
Yes, I'd like to remove item 9B2 from the consent agenda. That's the accepting the letter of resignation from Councilmember Butts.
Okay, thank you. Any other changes? I'm looking around our room, seeing none, so I'll ask Councilmember Baclan, did you have any changes to the agenda tonight? Hearing none, I'll check with Councilmember Kreitz. Did you have any changes to the agenda tonight?
I have none.
Okay, thank you so much. So we have a motion and a second, approval of the agenda and consent agenda. Looking around the room, Madam Clerk, would you call for a vote, please?
Voting on tonight's agenda and consent agenda. Kreitz,
Yes.
Baclan,
Yes.
McClure,
Yes.
Butts,
Yes.
Cease,
Yes.
Osenga,
Yes.
Mayor Terry.
Yes.
Tonight's agenda and consent agenda are approved, and on tonight's consent agenda, you have approved Resolution 2020-062, authorizing the city manager to enter into an agreement with Harmon Construction not to exceed $145,500 for the purpose of sidewalk repairs and appropriating funds. Resolution 2020-063, approving the City of Seward's participation in a proposed refinancing by the Alaska Municipal Bond Bank of its general obligation bonds that provided funds to purchase the general obligation library museum bonds, 2011 Series A of the City of Seward, under a loan agreement between the City of Seward and the Alaska Municipal Bond Bank, and authorizing the City of Seward city manager or designee to approve a revised schedule of principal and interest payments on the City of Seward's 2011 A bonds in accordance with the loan agreement if the bond bank successfully refinances its bonds. Also approved on consent are the July 27, 2020 City Council regular meeting minutes.
Thank you. So next on the agenda are special orders, presentations, and reports, and I'll get our guests in here. Have you guys stand right here. So this is my great privilege to be with such wonderful people that have done so much for the community, and I'm just happy to be mayor at this time that I'm able to present this to you. The first one is the 2019 Historic Preservation Award, awarded to Hugh and Iris Starling by the Alaska Association for Historic Preservation in recognition of excellence in historic preservation in Alaska for a lifetime achievement stewardship at Brown and Hawkins store. So I'll give you this first one. See, look, so, sorry, we can set it down too. We should have.
Hold it up there just a second.
Oh, here. Cheryl wants to get a picture with you guys. Oh, here.
Oh, Christy, we're quite honored to have received this. The state called us on that. We were quite shocked.
It's beautiful.
And
Yes.
it's a real honor for Seward to have this honor, I think.
And well-deserved, for sure.
Thank you.
So now, since there's a long list of all the things you guys have done, I'll go on the second one. So this is a proclamation recognizing Iris Starling for the Seward Historic Preservation Award. So, whereas the Seward Historic Preservation Award is presented annually to recognize an individual or organization whose efforts and contributions help preserve the tangible aspects of Seward's history and heritage, whereas Iris Starling co-owned two of the oldest family-owned businesses in Seward for over 3 decades, and whereas from 1987 until 2013, Iris Darling, and her handsome husband Hugh Darling, which I put in the handsome part, owned Brown and Hawkins Store, which was their family-owned business and the oldest continually operated business in Seward. And whereas the Darlings owned and ran Seward's Gelato Shop, Sweet Darlings, from 1997 to 2019, and whereas Iris and Hugh Darling were awarded the 2019 Historic Preservation Award from the Alaska Association of Historic Preservation for stewardship property owner of Brown and Hawkins, and whereas Mrs. Darling has also contributed to Seward's history by updating the Seward Historic Inventory List and passionately advocating for the preservation of the Jessie Lee home during the 8 years she served on the Seward Historic Preservation Commission. And whereas in appreciation and recognition of Iris Darling's service to the City of Seward, Alaska, and her service to the Seward Historic Preservation Commission, the City of Seward is pleased to present the 2020 Historic Preservation Award to Iris Darling. Now therefore I, Christy Terry, Mayor of the City of Seward, Alaska, do hereby congratulate Iris Darling and thank her for her dedication and commitment to preserving Seward's history. So I'll give you this.
Thank you.
And then I'll let you have a long minute at the end. I'll do this next one for you. So this one is recognizing Iris Darling for her service on the Historic Preservation Commission. So this is also beautiful if you can see it. So presented to Iris Darling for excellent leadership, dedicated service on the Historic Preservation Commission, serving the people of Seward from July 2017 to May 2020. So let's load you up and get a picture, and then I'll let you say a few words. Should Hugh hold this one?
Sure.
Okay. And then we'll let Cheryl take some pictures.
Cheryl's a good photographer.
Yes.
If I can get the thing to work.
I got it.
You got it?
I got it.
Okay, no, I just don't know why that won't take. It wants to go in different sizes.
She's taking a selfie.
Now, folks, I don't know if you wanted to say a few words. I can help pack you up too, if that would help.
I did, and I wrote them because I'm not very good at ad-libbing.
Here, stand up closer.
Oh, you and I are very touched by this honor from the state, because it's too an honor for the city to be acknowledged as protectors of the historic significance of the city of Seward. Having run the Brown and Hawkins buildings for 3 decades, 3 years too, I'm well aware of the important role history plays in Seward. And I appreciate having the opportunity from the council to serve on the commission. And you have one of the best councils, the commissions you've ever had now, and they're working very hard. The other, Cheryl Cease, is leading it with the help of 4 other people, and they're all very diligently involved. So stay behind them. But it's time for us to turn over the reins of this beautiful property to the new owners, Jeff and Michelle Cobble. They're well-known architects and photographers who have the same passion for history and love this great little town like we do. We're confident they will fight to retain the historic significance of the historic district in Seward, because once it's destroyed, it's gone forever. So I'd like to say thank you to Alaska and Seward for this honor, and thank you to Madam Mayor and the council for giving me the opportunity to serve on this commission. It's just really touching. I encourage everyone in the audience to get involved with history. Seniors, parents, particularly the school children, come to the commission meetings because they're kind of informative, and as you get older in life, you'll know how important it is to you. Although the Historic Commission is an arm of the city, the Resurrection Bay Historical Society also exists here, of which Sue is involved, our Vice Mayor Sue, and it's a very active in the community, and they would love to have some new volunteers and new people there. So let's get involved, Seward, and thank you, commissioners.
Well, it's my great honor to be able to give this to you guys. How nice.
I will hang it proudly.
There you go.
Thank you.
Thank you both.
Is it at home?
Is it what? Thank you.
Thanks for
Bye-bye.
coming over.
Guys. Well, if only all citizens were that involved. I remember moving here 20 years ago, and they've been involved ever since that time. So just very honored to have those folks here tonight and get those awards. Next on the agenda is Gary Knopp in Memoriam. Another great individual, and this is just a sadder occasion. Born in Whitefish, Montana, Gary Knopp was a certified flight instructor and registered pilot who moved to Alaska in 1979 and worked for many years as a general contractor. He was elected to the Alaska Legislature in 2016 after serving on the Kenai Peninsula Borough Assembly. Knopp resigned from the Assembly on January 3, 2017 and was sworn in as a representative later that month. He was a candidate in this year's Republican primary for House District 30. During the 30th session of the Alaska House of Representatives from 2017 to 2019, he served on the following committees: Administration, University of Alaska, Commerce, Community and Economic Development, Labor and Workforce Development, Revenue, State Affairs, Arctic Policy, Economic Development and Tourism, and Labor and Commerce. During the 31st session from 2019 to 2020, he served as the chairman of Natural Resources and Labor and Workforce Development Committees, and also as member on the Finance Committee. Our own Seward Vice Mayor, Sue McClure, served with him on the Borough Assembly and had these kinds of words to say. Gary was truly a nice person. I enjoyed serving with him. He carefully considered each vote, and I admired his thoughtful demeanor. He will be missed. On behalf of Seward City Council, we hereby present this special recognition and memorandum to family of Gary Knopp and extend our sincere condolences. And Sue, since you served with him, I'd like to give you an opportunity to say a few words.
Thank you. Yeah, Gary, when people pass, people always say he or she was a really wonderful person or a nice person. Gary was one of the nicest guys I ever met, and I wish I had the words that the current president of the Assembly, Kelly Cooper, wrote online. I should have brought that, but she said basically what I would have said more eloquently. And he was a mentor. He taught me. I guess maybe I taught him some stuff too, but he taught me about really considering thoughtfully every vote, every issue. He was not one of these people that was one side or the other. He was considering of each thing. His wife, Helen, I swear she was there in the audience every meeting. She came to all the meetings. Gary was a really fun guy when we go to AML and stuff. I really enjoyed Gary, and this has a double whammy for me too, because he died in his plane, and he was a flight instructor. My son's a flight instructor. My daughter-in-law now flies, and it's my brother's namesake and my son's namesake all perished in small planes. So this whole plane thing really hit me hard when I heard about his passing, and I just can't send enough love to his wife, and just let everyone know that even though he did not represent Seward on the Assembly or in the legislature, he was an outstanding individual. And I'd like to make sure that the proclamation is sent, a copy at least is sent to his wife.
The original will be sent.
The original, thank you.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you, Sue, for adding a personal touch to that. We appreciate it. Next on the agenda is the Borough Assembly report. And I don't know, Sue, I know you follow the Borough Assembly. Is there anything you wanted to add? I know our representative isn't here tonight.
There's so much. Had I known that
Oh,
there
yeah.
wasn't, next time I'll make some comments. One of the things that's coming up, and perhaps the clerk could put the right words in, but there is going to be a referendum on the ballot, it's the October 6th ballot, I'm assuming, concerning the vote by mail hybrid. If you recall, the Assembly passed the plan that we supported They passed the plan 6-3. The borough mayor vetoed it. They overrode the veto 6-3. So a group got the signatures. So it only took under 1,400 signatures to get it on the ballot as a referendum. The problem there, and I will speak more to this when it comes up, the wording, as I understand it, is going to be very confusing because a yes vote means no and a no vote will mean yes. Because it's in reference to, do you support the override of the veto or not, I believe, and I don't want to speak to that now because I should have written it down. I have to think it through every time. So it's going to be one of those votes that's very important in October when you get out and vote for everything else on October 6th. But you've got to be sure you know which way you feel and then vote that particular way. There are a couple other things going on too that should be reported on. So next, I'll just have it all written up that I want to say for the next meeting, and then if our representative is not here, I'll spew that information out, okay?
Great, thank
Thanks.
you. Thank you for your extracurricular
Oh,
activities.
well, it's a habit that's hard to break, you know.
Next on the agenda is the city manager report, acting city manager Norm Regis.
Madam Mayor, council members, so there was 3 POs over, one was for the fire for the automatic transfer switch upgrade between the fire station and City Hall. That was for $26,000. And the electric was buying some transformers for $24,500. And MIS is going to be the server upgrade citywide. That was for $74,000, which was approved in Resolution 2020-060. And if you have any questions, for the rest of the report.
I'll look around the room. Councilmember Butts.
I just had one, we really don't have our, we don't have our Chamber of Commerce report here too. And I was wondering if you could just give us any kind of little update on the Derby.
So the Derby,
I
so
hate to put
actually.
you on the spot with that one.
Okay, thank you. So, Councilmember Butts. So, I actually talked to Jason, not today, but yesterday, and the fish are slow coming in. Of course, the weather hasn't been cooperative, but they are getting some fish, and I believe when I left today is 11.51 is still leading the Derby. And they're doing great down there, maintaining distances and wearing face masks, really doing a great job, especially for a lot of folks running around down there right now with all the extra people in town. Hope that's what you wanted to hear in the Derby. Okay.
Councilmember Butts.
And I had one other question through the mayor. GK and L floats, your idea of timeline of when we're going to start that project.
Councilmember Butts. So the timeline for that, so I applied for the facility grant program, and the state won't give out who gets it until October. And then the funding will be the next session if the governor decides to give out the funds. It's all up to if we get approved and if the governor approves it. So it'd be a year to 2 years.
Okay, so we could get it into this next session
If the governor approves it.
if the governor approves it, okay.
Correct. It approves that funding. It's just been about $5 million what he's been approving. And I believe we're only asking for 1.7 if I remember right.
Thank you.
And I actually, Madam Mayor, I did have a couple things. The dumpsters are actually on the railroad dock. They just came in on the barge and they were being offloaded today. And then I have one big thing too. So I know this back here, but people got to fill out the census.
Yeah.
Tell your friends, have your friends tell your friends. It's very important for us, citywide, statewide. So I just wanted to put that out.
Thank you. I'll look around the room. And then I'll check on the phone. Councilmember Kreitz, did you have any questions or comments under the manager's report?
I have none.
Thank you. Councilmember Bucklawn, did you have anything under the manager's report?
No comment.
Okay. I have a couple things, and I'll go backwards. So available full-time positions, again, a lot of those have been listed for quite a while. And I know the city manager is gone this week, but if we could get the information back to him and I can send him an email too. I'd like to see maybe some ideas generated on how we can see if there's other aspects to advertise. Like I know we're looking for a finance director, if AML-GIA has any ideas. I know we have an acting finance director through a firm right now, but You know, there's the correctional officers have been advertised since 2018. My parents live in Maine, and I guess our Alaska governor is on every other commercial looking for state troopers out of Maine. So, I mean, seems like the state's thinking outside of the box, maybe if there's something that we can think through. And that's just more of a question. Harbor Master.
So, Madam Mayor, so the harbor administrative assistant, so we did offer to a lady, but she had already had a trip planned, and she's not coming back until, I believe, the beginning of September, and she has to have 2 negative tests before she can get hired. So we wanted to keep her on, keep that on there, just to let you know we did offer
Okay.
it out, and we're waiting
Okay.
for her to get back. And I don't know if, anything on your police at all, or?
Sure, so with our police officer positions, right now, we have several working, being developed, but right now, I don't feel is a good time to actually extend an offer because it's not fair to the candidate. We're headed into winter, and so we missed the window for the fall academy, and now as we're heading into winter, we're looking more towards the spring academy. So in between that time, what do you do with this person? And they need to be on field training. And if we're going into winter, that's a huge disservice to a police recruit because they're not going to get the amount of training that they really need. And then we end up just extending them anyway. So you end up paying for something and not getting anything.
Yeah.
And that's not a good situation. So what I'd like to do is wait a bit, and as I get closer to the start of the year, then select one of these recruits, one of these applicants for that. Now, when it comes to the correctional positions, I have had several applications, but when they see the amount of paperwork that's required, they just drift away, and I never get anything, and I end up disqualifying most of them for lack of interest. And I think the GovHR, if we can get that rolling, I think that will help. It'll make it much more competitive, but there's other issues there we can talk about later. But that's where we're at with that. And then as far as the dispatch position goes, it's no longer being advertised. I believe we're very close to wrapping that up. I have a conditional offer out. I'm just waiting on the process, and once that's done, we'll be full staff. So
Great, that was very helpful explanation. Thank you very much.
And Madam Mayor, for the building fire inspector, so just to let you know, they did hire one, and they did accept it, and but it came from my department, the harbors. So now it would be a harbor worker 2 position. So just letting you know that he did accept that offer, and then he's finishing out the derby to help us out down there, and then he's going to be moving up to the fire department.
Okay. And then I have just 2 more things. That was very helpful. Thank you, both of you. Seward CARES Act relief funds. I'm going to mention this during my comments also, but since it's in the manager's report, I want to, and if people are paying attention at the start of the meeting, applications are due by 5 p.m. this Friday. And so you can look in your packet, you can contact the clerk's office. There's been, even last Friday, a notice went out.
Sorry,
Oh, Monday.
Monday the 17th.
Oh, sorry, Monday the 17th. Oh, excuse me, Monday the 17th. Oh yeah, a week from today, pardon me. Week from today at 5 o'clock. So that's for nonprofits and businesses. And the last time I checked, there was 80 applicants for the businesses, but that was early last week. So get in your applications, folks. And then the final thing I have is the city manager and I had spoken about this, and I told him I would bring this up. But the heat loop project is at a point where council needs to make some decisions and get a presentation from that contractor. So information wasn't in this packet, but since that time, and the date that's been proposed is August 19th for a work session, which would be not this Wednesday, but next Wednesday, so a week from Wednesday. And so I kind of want to look around and see if folks would be available for a work session that night. And if we say 6 o'clock or 7?
6.
6? Okay, so Sue will be there, I'll be there, that's 2. Do we get our 4? John Osenga will be there.
What date?
It's
again?
Wednesday, August 19th at 6.
Oh, I'm okay.
So there's 4. I'll check with folks on the phone. We would have a quorum, but it would be great. Councilmember Baclawn, would you be available Wednesday, August 19th for a work session regarding the heat loop project?
7 would work best for me, but I can make 6:30 work.
6:30? Sure. 6:30? 7?
I'm not sure how long it's gonna be, so.
I don't think it would be more than maybe an hour and a half.
6:30?
6:30. Councilmember Kreitz, would you be able to make that work session?
I would not. I'm in a continuing education class at 17, 18, and 19.
Okay. So I think we would have a quorum though. Madam Clerk, would you like me to make a motion and get a second and vote, or are we good with an agreement?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so August 19th at 6:30. The city manager is aware of it, and I'll make sure that the contractor gets the information. And just for the clerk's benefit, we'll have it in this room, and a packet will be published, and so folks can provide their comments the normal way.
Correct.
Council, or Vice Mayor McClure?
And could the presentation be on the big
Yes,
screen
we
then
can
so
do
people
that
can see?
again. I'm sure I'll get the presentation from
Andy Baker.
Andy
And
Baker.
Baker, yeah, Andy Baker.
Okay,
Okay,
and put it in the packet as well.
great. Okay, thank you. That's all I had. Other reports and announcements, we have none. Presentations, we have none. Public hearings, we have none. We're now on to unfinished business. Item 8, items postponed from the previous agenda. So this has been postponed, so it's actually on the table already, but let's read the title into the record. So it's Resolution 2020-057. Madam Clerk?
Resolution 2020-057 is authorizing support for Hoops for Seward to pursue private, state, and federal funding for remodeling Forest Acres basketball court. And this item was postponed from July 27th, 2020.
So Councilmember Baclawn, I know you have some comments, but I'm going to turn it over to administration first. So Norm, I'll let you, because I know you've also been working on this.
Correct, but you want to work on this resolution or the one that Councilmember Baclawn?
Well, let's talk to what's on the floor first.
Okay. So,
Tyler, did you?
Tyler's here, sorry.
Good evening.
Okay, you want to talk about just everything you've been doing with the basketball court, or?
Sure. So we received some of the preliminary figures from secondhand from Hoops for Seward about some of the project costs. So total project costs in the neighborhood about $60,000, and that would be for the basic asphalt repave with painted lines, a couple hoops, backboards, benches, minor additions like that. I don't believe that includes the ADA path. We'd have to get more, we're still doing more research into that to get more definitive figures. And then, yes, there was the recent amendment for the...
That'll be at the next one.
Okay, sure.
Okay, so why don't we turn it over to Councilmember Baclawn, because I think you want to wait until we get some of that. Okay, so Councilmember Baclawn, we do have your proposed amendments in our packet, and those start on page 15. I know you're on the phone. Did you want to go ahead and make those, or how did you want to proceed, sir?
I would. So first of all, I know that there was some concerns in the comments today about the budget, and I didn't know, I don't have the tax in front of me, but I didn't know if the budget documents were in there, but like the Parks Director said, it was in the range of $60,000. I guess, I would like to make a motion to amend it as worded.
Okay, so the amendments outlined on page 15 and 16 of the packet. I'll go ahead and second that, and then I'll let you speak to your proposed amendments.
So the proposed amendment were to have the city have some buy-in in this project. I thought that if we work together with the group, that we could save some costs, and we propose to pay matching funds, proposed matching funds in the amount of $30,000 from the parking account.
Okay, thank you. So I'm gonna then I know that administration has some further explanation, so I'll turn it over to you, Norm.
So is that,
So that's on page 15 and
right,
16.
so the resolution is on the floor, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so, start off, so the administration doesn't support, pulling funds from enterprise funds for a general fund project. But working with the, finance director, we were looking at other ways to find this money, and, we looked and we came up with something that, like, so Parks and Rec, no more TYC, so that was one thing that was stopped. So we looked at what TYC had in their funding, what we could use for it, and we found out that the TYC council fund had over $35,000 in it, and these kids actually raised money for that, and it could go back to them in the form of getting this basketball court fixed up. So administration recommends that we just change where the money is coming from instead of the parking fund, but use the TYC council fund.
So we would strike,
I can read it, I got it.
okay, so
Well, let's,
do we need to make this an emotion?
well, so what we'll do is I'll look for comments first and see, or unless you're ready to make a motion.
Yeah, I'm ready to
Okay.
make that motion then, that we, in section 3, is that right? That's what we're talking about?
Yes, sir.
Section 3?
Yep,
That the funding in the amount of $30,000 is hereby transferred from, and then from parking all the way to the end, strike all that. Is that correct?
correct.
And have it be from the TYC council fund.
For the
And what,
TYC council fund.
and what's the coding on
The
that?
coding is 02,000-0000-3400.
Okay, so is there a second?
I will second that.
Vice Mayor McClure seconds.
I'll second it.
Okay, so we are now on the motion of appropriating that funding from the TYC council fund. And so, did you want to speak to that more, and then I'll go around
I
for
just wanted to
comments?
add towards hoops for Seward at the very end of that.
Okay.
That change,
Okay, at the end of that paragraph.
correct.
So let's look around the room, Councilmember Osinga.
I just want to confirm, this is something that TOAC Council doesn't exist anymore, right? I
So-
mean, this is not something that's gonna, someone's gonna be like, whoa, wait a minute.
So TYC Council does exist, but these funds are to help, like, kids go to TYC that couldn't afford it. It's not a scholarship, but it helps kids go. But now the Boys and Girls Club took it over, they don't need these funds, but there's still a council. They can still raise money, and there's still $5,000 left, and then, but there is a council.
Okay. Councilmember Cease.
Well, part of that money, to start with, they were, actually, Norm told me they had 2 accounts.
Correct.
And I knew one had a bunch of it in, but they hadn't taken a scholarship out of that for a long time. But the other one, the 20,000 something, they had taken some out. But that's one thing I was really shocked at, that they get them out and we don't even know who gets it, recognition for it or whatever. So I think it's a great idea to do it out of that money, because they don't need all that money.
So Madam Mayor, I think what she was talking about, so the other one's the college scholarship fund, and that one has over $22,000 in it, and it was just used this past June for a Seward student to go to college. They gave him a $1,000 grant. So that money is being used. We don't want to go to that money because it's for
Well, and so what I hear you saying, Councilmember Cease, is it would be nice if there's scholarships coming out of that fund that council's at least made aware, because it would be great to have the students come, or at least say
Yeah.
congratulations to them. Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Well, when I saw that first one, it hadn't been used. I mean, I gave it to our city manager to find out where it is, and I couldn't find it in the budget. You know.
Okay, well, thank you for investigating.
Madam Mayor, well, I'll let the city manager know that we'll add, just, if somebody receives a scholarship from out of that fund, that it be in the city manager's report.
Yeah, that'd be great. And that's not to check up on anyone, but we want to applaud those kids that have done some hard work. Vice Mayor?
Oh, speaking to the amendment, I'm fully in support of taking the money from this source. So.
I'll check with folks on the phone. Councilmember Baclan, I know that you did second that motion. Did you have any comments?
I just want to thank Tyler and Norm and the city manager and Sam for coming up with possible solutions and working together to make this happen, and I really appreciate everyone's time on this.
Thank you. Councilmember Kreitz, did you have any comments?
No, my only question was going to be what the initial intent of those funds were by council, but I believe that was answered.
Oh, thank you. I think it's I think that the kid, there's kids, including these kids that are driving this, have worked for a lot of fundraisers with TYC, and I think putting it back into not only their benefit, but also the kids coming up behind them. And I also know that this is a great project because sometimes gyms are not available in the summertime, the inside gyms. So this allows, those teams to practice over the summertime. I would like to see some sort of recognition, like even a little plaque or something that with that work, not only saying, the Hoops for Seward, but also it would be great to have something about the TYC Council's contribution, just so people remember, this really was a project driven by youth and completed by youth, so that should really be highlighted. Did you have another comment?
Madam Mayor, yes, I have one more thing, and just at the end of that paragraph also, we need to do and appropriate to the mayor and council contingency account number, and then that same numbers that's there.
Okay.
That needs to be in there.
Thank you. So we're still on that motion. So why don't we have, before we vote, Madam Clerk, could you read that entire motion with the slight changes before we vote?
So, Madam Mayor, that is a secondary amendment to the original amendment. And so when the first vote we'll take will be to change the fund from parking fund to TYC council fund, as it was stated. Then you can have further discussion, and then we'll vote on the primary amendment, which will take all of the proposed amendments in.
No, I'm aware of that, but what I mean is, so that section 3 will now read, funding in the amount of $30,000 is hereby transferred from the TYC Council Fund 020000003400 and appropriated to the mayor and council contingency account, those numbers, towards Hoops for Seward. So is that how you want that section 3 to read?
Correct.
Okay.
Thank you.
So
That is what I have. I'm sorry.
Okay,
I
perfect.
misunderstood
No.
what you were asking.
So we'll take a vote on that section 3.
Thank you. Voting on that amendment, McClure,
Yes.
Osenga,
Yes.
Cease,
Yes.
Baclan,
Yes.
Butts,
Yes.
Kreitz,
Yes.
and Mayor Terry.
Yes.
So that amendment is approved.
Right, and now we are back on the amendment that talks about providing a contribution of $30,000 from the city and appropriating funds, and then also in that last whereas it strikes a sentence. So I'll just check, is there further discussion about that? I'll first look around the room, and then look to the folks on the phone. Councilmember Kreitz, did you have any further comments?
None.
And then Councilmember Baclan?
I just want to thank Max and all his hard work and all the people that have already donated and put time into this project as well. Thank you.
Okay, so we'll vote now on those amendments.
Voting on the amendment, McClure,
Yes.
Butts,
Yes.
Kreitz,
Yes.
Cease,
Yes.
Osenga,
Yes.
Baclan,
Yes.
and Mayor Terry.
Yes.
That amendment is approved.
And now we're back to, now we're voting on the entire resolution 2020-057. I'm just gonna make sure I'm being totally democratic and I'll look around the room. Further comments? Tyler, did you have any further comments? This was a lot of hard work by you also, so thank you for that.
I just would like to echo Councilmember McClellan's sentiments and just say thank you to Max and Hoops for Seward and their work and the engineer that came out and their family and my crew as well that put in the work, and of course for Councilmember McClellan did a lot of the work to communicating back and forth.
Yeah.
And getting this project moving forward.
Yeah, good. And then, Councilmember Buckland, did you have any final comments? This is on the approval of the entire resolution.
No comment.
Councilmember Kreitz?
No comment.
Thank you. I just have one more comment. I just want to say that the future of Seward's very bright if we have these youth that are so motivated and go about things the right way and really work for the things that they want to better the community. So I think this is just a really bright time during all of this. So, Madam Clerk, could you call for a vote, please?
Voting on the main resolution as amended, Kreitz,
Yes.
McClure,
Yes.
Butts,
Yes.
Buckland,
Yes.
Osenga,
Yes.
Cease,
Yes.
Mayor Terry.
Yes.
That resolution is approved.
Thank you. Now we're on to new business. Resolution 2020-061.
Resolution 2020-061 is appointing a CARES Act Grant Review Committee for the purpose of awarding authorized disbursements to qualifying Seward area nonprofit organizations.
Thank you, and I'm looking for a motion and a second.
Oh, sorry. I move for the approval of Resolution 2020-061.
Second.
Thank you. So I'll turn it over to you, Acting City Manager, if you had any comments.
So Madam Mayor, the one comment I had is, we need to move this along because the people in Seward, the business owners, and they're really hurting, and trying to move this forward to get the committee going on these applications that we're receiving. So this past weekend and last week, we're reaching out to some community members to be on this committee, and they submitted letters of interest to the city clerk, and I believe you have those. So I think if you could just maybe choose who you want to be on the committee, and then we can keep moving forward. You can schedule a meeting and get going.
Thank you. I want to just make a motion off the bat at someone's request. So in the second to last whereas, when it talks about the 5-mayor committee, I'd like to strike Chamber of Commerce Director and change it to "and 2 members of the community." And if I get a second, I'll explain.
I'll second that.
Thank you. So Chamber Director Jason Bickling asked me to have his name taken off as a committee member. He just wanted to recognize even the appearance of a potential conflict of interest, because the Chamber of Commerce will be applying for funding under the CARES Act that the city's doing, so he wanted to not be included in the search committee. He didn't feel like that was appropriate. So I'll look around. I don't know if anyone has any comments here. I'll check with Councilmember Buckland. Did you have any comments to my amendment?
No comment.
Councilmember Kreitz?
I have none.
Thank you. So I think, Madam Clerk, if we could call for a vote, please.
Voting on the amendment to strike the Chamber of Commerce and add 2 community members. Butts,
Yes.
Buckland,
Yes.
McClure,
Yes.
Osenga,
Yes.
Cease,
Yes.
Kreitz,
Yes.
and Mayor Terry.
Yes.
That amendment is approved.
So I notice in this resolution, in that same whereas clause, so Kenai Peninsula Economic Development District Director, that's Tim Dillon. And while we're not required under this resolution, I wonder if we want to go ahead and talk about who we would like to see in that committee, and then include their names in this resolution. And when the one item that I wanted to talk to right now is a council member. I guess my preference, or my suggestion for a council member, and I'll look to see if anyone is interested, but, I was thinking that Sue McClure would be a good choice for that, unless anyone else is interested. I'm looking at you, Councilmember Osenga, I wasn't sure if you were. And then Councilmember Kreitz and Councilmember Baclan, were either one of you interested in serving on the committee for the nonprofit disbursement?
I would support.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, I made you talk over each other. That's my fault. So if I can look around and get a head nod without even asking her if she's willing, I think that, are we fine with? Yeah, okay,
Yeah,
good.
I gave the nod.
Okay, so that's nice and easy. So we have Tim Dillon, Sue McClure, and now we need a business owner and 2 members of the community. And I know we have some letters in front of us. And I've been talking a lot, so I'll check and see if there's anyone else that has any comments. Councilmember Cease.
Well, it's too small, I can't read it.
Oh.
Was Claire Sullivan applying for that also?
Yeah.
Third one?
Yeah. So the 3 letters we have before us are Kim Ryerson, whose letter was read during public comments. Hillary Bean is the business owner. And then Claire Sullivan with the American Legion. So I'll go first to the folks on the phone. Councilmember Baclan, did you have any comments?
No comments. I would support all of those names that were read.
Okay, Councilmember Kreitz?
No comment.
Thank you. Councilmember Cease?
But you narrowed it down to 2, correct?
Well, so...
Well, because of Hillary as the...
Yeah.
That's right. Okay, no, I don't have anything to say. I think they're all good people.
Vice Mayor?
Only that I would assume if a person was a member of one of the nonprofits or involved, they would recuse on those decisions for that nonprofit, right? Because some of these are, well, at least one I know, so. I mean, I would just assume that would be one of the basic tenets. I mean, I'm a member of RBHS, for example, if they applied for some money.
Right, you
I
would
recuse
step back.
or step back.
Okay.
And I would assume that would be a basic, I guess we'd have to form the committee and make those decisions, but I think Tim Dillon's pretty aware of how these things run too, so I wouldn't really be concerned. Just throwing that out.
I would agree with you. And I think if we, I think let's just make sure, and I'll look around for a head nod. I think that would be council's expectation, that if someone's part of a nonprofit on that committee that's coming forward, that they would not vote on that determination. Does that sound good to you, Councilmember Baclan? If someone on this committee also sits on a nonprofit, that they would not vote on whether what the funding for that nonprofit would be?
Yes.
And then Councilmember Kreitz, does that sound acceptable to you?
It does. That's what I was going to say earlier, was that I would not want myself to be on that as a council member, being that I do work for one of the nonprofits.
Oh, good, thank you. Well, I'll go ahead and make a motion then to include in that whereas the names. So I'll make this motion comprised of a business owner, Hillary Bean, Kenai Peninsula Economic Development District Director Tim Dillon, Vice Mayor Sue McClure, and community members Kim Ryerson and Claire Sullivan. So that's my motion.
I'll second it.
Yep.
Can I?
Oh,
I
yeah,
better
that's
not.
true, better not.
I second it.
Councilmember
So
C
used to it.
seconds. So I believe, I'll just take a second to pause, but I think we've discussed it enough unless anyone from the phone wants to chime in. I'll just take a second to pause. Hearing none, Madam Clerk, would you take a vote on that amendment, please?
Voting on that amendment to identify the names, Osenga,
Yes.
McClure,
Yes.
Butts,
Yes.
Kreitz,
Yes.
Cease,
Yes.
Baclan,
Yes.
Mayor Terry.
Yes.
That motion is approved.
So now we're back to the main resolution. Great, so we'll have all the applications in by the 17th, so hopefully the committee's able to, I'm assuming will be driven by administration, city manager and his executive liaison to get the meetings together and start going through all the applications. So I'll look for final comments. First I'll look around the room. And then Councilmember Kreitz, did you have any final comments?
I have none.
Thank you. Councilmember Baclan?
I'd like to thank all the people who stepped forward to put their name in the hat to serve on this committee, and hope that there are going to be a lot of applicants from the nonprofit sector to help out this committee.
Great, thank you. And I'll just say that I also appreciate everyone applying, and then just the hard work that Tim Dillon's already done. And then we really do appreciate the Chamber Director, Jason Bickling. I know he worked on the nonprofit forums on behalf of the city, so we appreciate him also. Madam Clerk, could we get a vote on the resolution as a whole, please?
Voting on Resolution 20-061. Bosenga,
Yes.
McClure,
Yes.
Butts,
Yes.
Kreitz,
Yes.
Cease,
Yes.
Baclan,
Yeah.
Mayor Terry.
Yes.
That resolution is approved.
Thank you. Now we are on to other new business. Item B2, accepting the letter of resignation from Councilmember Dale Butts. So if we don't get a motion and a second on this, is he required to stay and live in Seward regardless?
Change his plans.
And then direct the city clerk to solicit interest from qualified residents for the appointment. So before we get into the accepting the resignation part, so that we can still have you at the dais a few more minutes, Madam Clerk, once we do accept that resignation, could you talk about what the process will be to fill that seat, please?
Yes. So the whole event comes down to timing. Because we're already underway with the open period for candidate filing, we're prohibited for adding the seat to the ballot at this point in time. So it'll be an appointment that happens at the second meeting in October. So while we're undergoing the election preparations for October 6th, we'll simultaneously solicit interest from the community, from City of Seward residents who might be interested in serving the remainder of Councilmember Butts's term of 2 years. And those applications will come before council on October 26th for you to vote and appoint the replacement.
Okay.
Following that, the entire body of council will proceed with the organization.
Okay.
And
Vice Mayor.
it also is included there that the deadline for application for that appointed seat is October 16th at 5 p.m.
It would be, just to give it as much time as
After the
possible, as close to the meeting as possible.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, before we vote on accepting your resignation, I wanted to give you an opportunity, because you won't be able to speak during council comments, if you would like to make those comments now, or we can wait until citizen comments. I'll leave that up to you,
I think I'll do it citizen comments at the
Okay.
end.
Oh, there you
Okay.
go.
All right, that sounds good. So I'll go ahead and make the motion to accept Councilmember Butts's resignation. And is there a second?
Sure.
Whatever it was.
Oh, do you want a second?
Oh, I was gonna throw my pen at somebody.
You really wanted us to.
And I'll save my comments about thanking you also, but I'll check with Councilmember Baclan. Did you have any comments either about accepting Councilmember Butts's resignation or the process?
So would we be appointing a vice mayor before or after the appointment?
That would be done after, to allow the entire body, except the mayor, to participate and be a candidate for vice mayor.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Councilmember Kreitz, did you have any comments either about the procedure or the acceptance of Councilmember Butts's resignation?
None.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, I think we're ready for the vote.
It's interesting, but.
Yes,
Reservation.
I can do that, yes, I can.
Baclan,
Yes.
Leclerc,
Yes.
Osenga,
Yes.
Cease,
He might throw something at me.
Do you feel
Yes.
Kreitz,
Yes.
and Mayor Terry.
Yes.
Your resignation is accepted. Thank you.
And you know what? We are happy to have you sit there. We'll just look for you to make comments during citizen comments. Next on the agenda, our city clerk's report on public record requests. That's on page 67. And then also on page 68 is a proclamation about American Wind Week. And that looks like we are going to send that to...
We'll mail it, yes.
Okay, so it'll be mailed. And, one of the highlights of this is June 20th, 2012, the Alaska Vocational Technical Center installed a wind turbine that would provide hands-on training opportunities for Avtech's industrial electricity and power plant operator. And in 2013, they hosted Alaska Wind Diesel Workshop, drawing international participation. And so August 9th through August 15th is American Wind Week. And we encourage all our citizens to learn more about the benefits of wind energy in our community and to celebrate Alaska's leadership in renewable energy production. Are there any comments on either of those two items from the phone? I'll just pause for a second. Thank you. Next on the agenda is citizen comments. Is there anyone signed in for citizen comments, Madam Clerk?
Madam Mayor, I had Tara Reamer, but she has withdrawn her request, so I don't have any other.
Okay, is there anyone in the audience wishing to make comments? Mr. Dale Butts.
That's right, we're back to Mr. All right, good. Well, I'm gonna make comments kind of as a council member first, so thank you, Max. That's all I got to say for that too. I'm very, very happy to be able to vote on that resolution today too, to get that done too. I also have to say that I'm sorry to the Darlings for being a victim of COVID-19.
Yeah.
Of not having the fanfare that those two people deserve. Of their commitment, their involvement in the community over the years, they're adding to the flavor of Seward and what Seward actually was over the years. That was the institution. That was the main, everybody went to Brown Hawkins for things like this or too. So I can't thank them enough. Yeah, those two really, really deserve a lot more than what they got for tonight too. So if anybody sees them out on the street too, there again, thank them for that too. Gotta say again, remember the census, I think the end of next month is all we got left for the census. Okay, as Mr. Dale Butts, I'm sure I might get another chance to come in and say some things or two, but I can't thank there's so many people that I can thank, that I need to thank, that have been just a factor in my life. Here for, like I say, a little over 30 years of being here in Seward, the chance to get in, get involved, be part of it. That's the thing. So many people out there, love or hate Seward, and that's the whole thing that they look at there too. And I just have to leave you guys with one little thing here too. Like I say, I'll probably come back for more, but it was always a jewel that my dad left me. The difference between an ordeal and an adventure is your attitude. And so Seward is what you make it. If you don't like Seward, get in here and get it fixed. So thank you guys for serving too. So that's all I have for now.
Great, thank you, sir. So next on the agenda are administration and council comments. I'll start with administration. Acting City Manager, Harbor Master Norm Regis, did you have any comments?
I did. I just want to thank all the people that volunteered for the CARES Act Review Committee. Like I said, reached out to a lot of people, and I'm glad these three people stepped up. It was excellent. And, and thanks, because we worked hard last week to try to find the money for this Seward Hoops thing. So thanks for Sam and working through it. We found it, and it was great, and I'm glad you guys passed it so we can work through and get that basketball court done. And then I think it's awesome that everybody stepped up to help the Sea Life Center. I mean, that's so huge for this town, and it's great, and I hope it keeps going. That's all I got, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, great. Well, again, I'm going to start with the folks on the phone. Councilmember Crate, so I'll let you kick it off with comments.
Yes, first off, I'd like to say that I'm very excited to hear that the Sea Life Center raised the money. It's very impressive that getting the word out and just in short time, 4 weeks, that they were able to do that, so congratulations. And to Councilmember Butt, just very sad that you're leaving, and I feel like it's definitely going to be a big hurt to the community, not only with council, but also with your previous job at Aztec and with the fire department. You're going to be sorely missed.
Thank you. Councilmember Baclawn, I'll go to you next.
Thank you, Mayor Terry. I would like to thank Mac for all of his hard work with the Seward Hoops project. He has done an amazing job putting together a budget, organizing an engineer to help him out, getting the community involved, sending out emails. It's very, very, very inspiring seeing a young person take an active role in doing what they want for the community and doing what they want to see in the community. And I hope that he encourages a lot more of our younger generation to step up and step forward and to be the change that they want to see in their community. I'd like to thank all the people who stepped up to volunteer for the CARES Act Committee, as well as Jason Bickling and the Chamber, Aisha and Kat and Marissa for all their hard work with the Salmon Derby as well. The Derby's still going on, so get out there and get a ticket. I want to thank Sam and Norm and Scott and Tyler for their hard work as well with the Seward Hoops project. And for Dale and his family, they will be sorely missed. I will miss seeing his wife at the grocery store. And but it's okay because we still have Dan. So thank you so much for all your service to our community, and I wish you the best of luck and beautiful seas from here on out.
Yeah, here. Councilmember Osinga?
Pretty much what everyone else said, thank you to all the volunteers for the CARES Act Committee. I was really happy to see the recognition for Iris G. Darling today. Great job, Sea Life Center. Also, great job, Max, and all those involved with the Seward Hoops project. Dale, it seems like you just got here. It's been, a year? Quick year?
Yeah.
Almost? Yeah, it just seems I'm excited for you, though, and you and your family. Best of luck. And everyone just be safe out there and fill out the census.
Great, thank you. Councilmember Cease?
Yes, and I want to also thank the CARES volunteers that are going to work on with the nonprofit. And also I want to make sure that everybody gets in for the census. We really need that done. And there's so many people here that haven't even filled anything out yet. And I want to thank all the people that signed up to vote. The other day we had 8 new people that signed up to vote. And but I do want to apologize. We got a little note from somebody says that we put the flag so it wouldn't stay on the window in front of the table, and I didn't know it was against rules and regulations, and I want to apologize. It won't ever happen again. And I also want to wish you good luck, Dale, and your wife. I'm going to miss having lunch with her when we get done with all this COVID thing. Maybe she'll just come back and visit for lunch on Thursdays.
Thank you. Vice Mayor?
Well, what they all said, but I will say it my way. I'm sad to see you go, Dale, and who's going to take care of the Halloween decorations in the neighborhood? I mean, that's just a spectacular thing for my grandson, and I'm hoping whoever you sell the house to will continue that legacy. And congratulations to Hugh and Iris. my memories of, I don't remember Hugh, but I remember Virginia, you know, so, and early memories of going into Brown and Hawkins. Way in the back was where all this, my mom would call them sewing notions were, and I remember how that smelled back there. I didn't really understand what sewing notions were, but it was a big deal going in there always. I'm really pleased with what we did in support of the basketball court. I mentioned it to my brother. He's staying here now helping out with my mom, and he said he used to play over there on that very court. Once I described where it was, he played tennis on it, but it's been there a while, and that's a pretty exciting thing. And I'm just overwhelmed with the news that Tara Raymer gave us tonight about how quickly they raised that much funding. I'm very excited about that. And just stay safe.
Great, thank you. I want to encourage everyone out there to go and fish the Silver Salmon Derby. Thanks to the chamber staff, Jason, Aisha, and Kat, and to all the charter captains that we have out there. You know, this is an interesting time, but we're glad that we have the Silver Salmon Derby to bring folks to town, to help our small businesses. And I want to thank all the chamber volunteers in these interesting times that are still volunteering. Great job to those Hoops for Seward. I think all of Seward got the postcard with kids like Annave and Trey and Max and Connor and Ben and Nick. And I love their mission statement: help us build a basketball court. Hoops for Seward is a youth-led, grassroots-funded project in partnership with the Seward Prevention Coalition. So, you know, these kids are definitely going far, and we appreciate their work on behalf of our community. Get your applications in if you're a Seward small business or a nonprofit. CARES Act grant, again, due by Monday the 17th, a week from today at 1700, 5 p.m. I wanted to let the community know that the U.S. Coast Guard Cutter Healy is here. You know, normally when they're here they have tours and they want the community to come over, but due to COVID policies and procedures and making sure that they're available to serve our country, there's no tours. You will see crew around town. They're allowed to go on hikes. They're allowed to get food for takeout. They're allowed to eat outside. So give them an elbow bump or wave hi and just welcome those crew members here in Seward. I want to thank Dale. This is the second time that we've served on the dais together, and just what an outstanding, thoughtful council member you are. It's been an honor to serve with you both times, and I know I feel that community that you folks are moving to is really going to be blessed, and you have all the well wishes of Seward following behind you, but we do expect you to come back and visit. And then, since everyone's mentioned the census, I just want to do a little plug up here. So it's 844-330-2020. I think the clerk would help you if you wanted to contact the city clerk. It's also 2020census.gov. We really are counting on all our numbers. That's how we get federal funding and help for our schools and all sorts of things. So please get in there and register. And with that, I am going to adjourn the council meeting at 8:18. Thank you.
Yeah.